Alright boys, you need the top PvP classes for the World of Warcraft Classic era hardcore servers? I got you. I did my research, I watched many different opinions on YouTube, I tried them myself. So be sure, these ones will destroy your opponent in the duel to the death. If you will have big enough balls to agree to that, right? Yes, we are talking about duels, because on the hardcore servers there are no PvP, it's only Magara. So, top 3 classes to dominate classic hardcore servers. And I'm talking specifically about classes, not builds, because you can change build on the go, right? Let's go. It's pretty simple. Sub-Rogue, every possible build for Warlock, and of course, Shadow Priest. And we start with the Rogue. So-called Hammer build. Shines while everybody is undergeared and destroyed pretty well in the endgame as well, by the way. Best races for Alliance are Dwarves and Gnomes. I prefer Dwarves because of the racial ability Stone Form, which is a life savior in some situations. Stone Form will allow you to remove all poison effects on you, but more importantly, it allows Dwarf to break out the blind while you blinded. Stone Form has other uses as well, allowing the Dwarf to remove bleeds and other ticking spells before they vanish. You also can try options with the Gnome ratio, Escape Artist. One of the easiest ways to control a rogue is to use immobilize effects, such as Frost Nova, Entangling Roots or Improved Hamstring, so you can skip them as a gnome. For Horde, Undead are the absolute best looking race for the rogue. The female Eviscerate animation has a chance for an epic flipping attack, while the male attack animation are just gorgeous, But when it comes to PvP, Undead is formidable race for rogues because of the racial ability. Will of the Forsaken. 2 minutes cooldown, immunity for Charm, Sleep and Fear, even while you under these effects. Orcs have their passive ratio for 25% lower chance to be stunned, which can help, but in that case you will need special trinket to avoid fear and stuff, Okay, the build. This build uses Hemorrhage as a combo point builder and dumps them with the Eviscerate, Kidney Shot or Expose Armor. Early on people will be fairly undergeared, which is when this build will truly shine. Players will have low health pools and Eviscerate has very high base damage, meaning your kill potential is fairly high in the PvP scenarios. You will basically keep the targets under CC for almost all of the time of the fight and then one-shot some of them. When you have high tier gear, backstab build could be more valuable, but it's like way long to go. Basically you can level up till 30 in a combat build because it's more efficient, and then respect and start to grind your fame. Or, die and start from the scratch, what I will do most of the time. In the description you will find talent builds on the Wolf Head, so use it. This build is often referred to as Hammer, is very easy for PvE combat sword rogue to transition into. Because Hammer can be very successful with a good pair of PvE swords also. In general, it is recommended to have slow main hand weapon with the highest possible top end damage on it. In the offhand, it's not necessarily required to wield the sword. In fact, many rogues will instead put on a dagger, because having a fast weapon speed can trigger poison more often. If you want more detailed video about the rogue PvP guide, professions and backstab build, subscribe and drop a comment below, please.
Warlocks!
All 3 specs available in PvP, so you have a big room for personal experiments. But we are going into the Soul Link build Demonology tree. Gnomes are best race for the Alliance, same reason like with the Rogue, Escape Artist racial skill. For the Horde also Undead and Orcs again, but this time I will say that Orcs could be as good as Undead, so choose what you like. Personal preferences and stuff. As always, link for the build will be below, and the button to subscribe also there, okay? Demonology Warlocks have arguably the best defensive toolkit in the entire game of World of Warcraft Classic. Between Voidwalker, Demon Sacrifice, Soul Link, damage reduction, improved Hearthstone, offensive Death Coil, Fear and Howl of Terror, as well as to their Fell Hunters duo offensive defensive Dispel, they can go toe to toe with any opponent. So this is really huge class for PvP and duels in hardcore. This build is more durable compared to other builds of the world. Soul Link and the Master Demonologist will work pretty well. This build is excellent for dueling, and it's considered one of the strongest dueling builds in the whole game. Your goal is to make use of your Soul Link and Sacrifice from your Void Walker to survive against anyone while your dots whittle away at the target, with a Nightfall procs to help you burst them down. Fell Domination is another incredibly important defensive cooldown, since it gives you access to second Void Walker when you need it by making the cast short enough to get off in combat without someone stop it. Warlocks are excellent at control, make heavy use of Fear, Hall of Terror and a Dust Coil. Void Walkers are an excellent choice to get the melee rogues, where burst damage is the main threat, since you can use Sacrifice to mitigate most of the burst. Against the ranged, you should be using either Void Walker for the Sacrifice or Fell Hunter for the Devour Magic, and Spell Lock. The key of the fight is going to be Endurance, which comes down to mana, and Warlocks can, do stuff with mana. Okay? Obviously, all of these classes need the gear and engineer to get better and be perfect in duels. We can't lose in duels, right? Because we will die permanently. But this is for the next video. And Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest! I think it's so cringy, but anyway, I like it. The Shadow Priest is regarded as one of the best solo PvP dueling classes in World of Warcraft Classic. The best one. With an array of powerful offensive spells such as Shadow Ward, Pain, Mind Blast and Mind Flay, Shadow Priest can really dish out the damage. But Shadow Priests aren't known just for their face-melting damage, they are also extremely tough to take down, thanks to defensive spells such as Power Ward Shield, Inner Fire, and flat damage reduction from the Shadow form. Dwarves are the best priest race for Alliance, period, especially in PvP. Fear Ward is just too insanely powerful. When it comes to the Shadow Priest, however, it can be a bit tricky, because Fear Ward is a holy spell, which means you cannot cast it while the Shadow form. But even after taking this into consideration, it is still too good to pass up. Dwarf Priest will put Fear Ward on themselves, and then the fear could be resisted, and then Priest can use Dispel Magic if needed. And Undead are best Priest for the Horde, hands down. They essentially have a longer cooldown Fear Ward built in their base ratio. Will of the Forsaken. After Undead Priest uses Will of the Forsaken, they can Dispel Magic and remove any debuffs after that. Don't forget about Devouring Plague, an insane damage of the time ability. Devouring Plague is unbelievably powerful, even though it costs nearly 1000 mana on its own, but don't worry, the Undead Priest will probably just inner focus first. This build goal is to make you as tough as possible while also strongly improving your shadow damage spells. You will be extremely hard to kill in one-on-one versus scenario and often able to kill multiple opponents by yourself in the classic World of Warcraft. We will not use it here, maybe we will in the future, who knows. Are you ready to bet your character life on your skills? I definitely will try it with my rogue, but man, it will be tough. If you want to watch how I will die in every duel to the death, come by to my YouTube channel, I'm streaming all day on YouTube. It will be fun, guys. Anyway, it was cool, it was really nice to see you. I hope this will help you to understand the basics and to choose some cool class, to dueling and PvP if you into it. If no, drop the comment below, I will do many different cool videos about World of Warcraft and hardcore in particular. And I know, guys, you need to go down and click this subscribe button and like button and, all do this stuff. And you can dislike if you don't like the video, but I was happy to see you. Bye.